Hello and welcome to ETBFSI. This is Shreyasana, and I have with me Mr. Vinay Bagri, the co-founder and CEO of NiYO. Welcome, Vinay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Shreya, for having us in this discussion.
So, Vinay, let me begin by asking you, so new banking space has seen a lot of rush with new entrants. How do you differentiate from other players?
Yeah, so Shreya, while has been a rush of announcements about neobanks, but nobody has really gone live. So
Mhm.
ours is the first neobank to go live in the market. So that itself is a differentiator. We have a significant first movers advantage now. Other than that, from a proposition point of view, what we have tried to do is we try to bundle a travel proposition which we had earlier with a zero commission mutual fund and a unique savings account in partnership with IDFC, which gives you 7% if you keep more than a lakh rupee there. So we calling this 007 kind of an offering,
Right.
which we which we believe is very difficult to beat for any new player coming.
Okay. So, what are the trends that you are seeing on your platforms across customers?
So the major trend is, a lot of discretionary spend is no longer happening now. So whether we were a very travel focused product earlier, and we used to see all this booking of for travel and booking of hotels and all that. So that's naturally all gone. Hardly anybody is wanting to travel, even if they can, in this scenario. And we think that's going to continue for some time. People will be really worried about traveling, especially outside the country. So the from a discretionary spends, the pattern has shifted to more like a basic spend, especially from a lockdown perspective. A lot of people want to buy all kind of streaming services, so Netflix, Hotstar. These purchases are on a high, and then also on the basic grocery items, whatever they can, which can be through Big Basket or any other such grocery purchase. So those are two major gainers, I would say. Another small trend is, people wanting to buy more medicine online.
So let me come to this question that a lot of people want to know whether neo banking sector will survive COVID-19 or not. What
That's a
changes are going to
good,
happen? Yeah.
yeah, that's a good question. See, anything which is going digital now,
Mhm.
where the customer doesn't have to get out of his house, and which facilitates that, I think that business is going to do well. And that business, to my mind, has got accelerated by a few years.
Mhm.
So if you look at telemedicine in India, it's got accelerated. If you look at tele-education, it's got accelerated. Similarly, banking, whatever digital banking would have done, let's say 3-5 years in normal scenario, it'll get accelerated into 1 year because of this experience. Nobody really wants to now meet somebody and fill some forms and all that. People are, I think, are going to be way more comfortable sitting at home and doing the entire banking. And from
Absolutely.
that perspective, the whole user experience, user interface, which is the primary offering of a typical neo bank, I think it's going to be significantly see a significant jump in terms of the growth and prospects.
Right. So you don't see a possibility of customers returning to traditional banking?
Actually, customers going to branches is going to reduce with every passing day.
All right.
Already customers have got used to 60 days of not seeing their banker's face, and yeah, so I think it's going to change dramatically, not only for pure banking services per se, but even for wealth management. The whole formula of having your RM fill the forms for you for mutual funds and stocks and all that, I think it's going to be a lot more DIY. This COVID has made people do a lot of things they would not do themselves, right from washing utensils to doing some of their banking stuff. So yeah, I think it will be a lot more do it yourself going forward.
How are the neo banks or neo in particular going to fill in the gap?
So our philosophy is simple. So one is we believe in offering a value to the user. So
Mhm.
when we had the travel product, it was a zero forex markup anywhere in the world, very simple, clean product. And then attached to this, there was this mobile interface, which was beautiful to use, very clean. So our offering has been very simple: give beautiful looking products to the customer, and basically, if you don't cheat a customer, give him good value, he's good. And mostly they assume their bankers to charge something which is unreasonable. It is like almost like a given. So the idea is very simple: that you give a product which is clean, which doesn't have any hidden charges. Whatever it is there is upfront, and you give a user interface which is beautiful to look at.
Okay. Okay. How will this situation impact your new operations?
Actually, surprisingly, Shreya, our operations have become much more efficient in this whole crisis, and I was like really surprised. Because we're in Bangalore, and you're aware of how the Bangalore traffic is. Like, it was like
Yes. Yes.
absolutely insane. So
I've lived
anytime when
there.
you live there, you
Yes.
know that. So if you want to do a 10 o'clock meeting in Bangalore with, let's say, 10 people, it's practically impossible. There's no way on earth everybody's going to land up at 10. So we never used to have like a structured meeting, discussions, etc. Because somebody or other would be stuck in traffic or this and that. Now, with this whole new work from home rhythm, it is unbelievable, Shreya, how efficient it is. Like every morning, sharp 9:30, we have a founders call. At 10 o'clock, we've got a leadership call, and then it works like a clockwork throughout. And which is why we are able to turn around, and the recent offering which we launched just now, we've practically the entire product is built in lockdown. From the new design to the new flow to, in fact, the bank integration. And I was really very, very happily surprised with our partner banks, who are like traditional banks, so to say, so not supposed to be so savvy. Even they are like really making good use of the lockdown period. We're having meetings as usual, much safer, much more efficient. Our cost of travel has become zero. We're really liking it.
Generally speaking, we've seen this continuous discussion around how banks and fintechs don't get along, and there's always been a debate around whether the partnership will happen or not happen. So how are you having more partners? Do you seeing more partnerships right now?
We always we have an advantage here that in terms of, I am an ex-banker. Almost 15-20 years I've spent on the other side of the table, if I may put it that way. So the idea always for us is when we enter into a partnership, it has to be a win-win for both.
Right.
And we have to look at some fundamental things which a banker will look at. Like if I'm a banker and a partner comes to me, even if it is a very profitable partnership, but if I see a possibility of a reputation risk, if I see a possibility of a fraud risk, if I see a possibility of customer experience issue, I will never partner as a banker. So naturally, when I go to get into a banking partnership, the first things we put to the table is, is our money laundering checks better than the bank? Is our KYC checks better than the bank? Are we ensuring that the bank's reputation, whatever we do, is never at stake? And once we do this, then commercials come actually, they're not a problem at all. So which is why, we've had very, very deep relation with all our partner banks. So Yes Bank, now it is going to be almost 5 years. Even when the situation was tough with Yes Bank, we were in touch with them. We were with them, standing with them. I exchanged some mails with the CEO after it got okay. So very, very strong relation with them. We really like how they operate. With DCB, again, a very solid partnership. It's almost 4 years now. Very successful product with DCB. And now, of course, recent partnership with IDFC. We hope that will also be very good for both parties. The change which has happened in the last 1 year in the way banks approach fintech is that earlier they were basically trying to do partnership with every fintech who was approaching with them, some bank or other. Now, banks are also, because of some instances which have happened in the past, banks are also very careful and want to work with few partners, but reliable partners. So in that context, we are right up there in maybe the top 5 partnerships which a bank would want to have. So we've got a lot of inbound in the last few months to partner. Some of them are very interesting propositions which we are looking at. We hope to announce slew of partnerships in the next few months.
Sure. Coming to the regulatory aspect, so there has always been some ambiguity around the concept of open banking.
Yeah.
Whereas other countries have accepted it. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so actually what happens, Shreya, is in our minds, especially as ex-bankers or fintechs partnering with banks, for us there is no ambiguity. We are very clear. But what happens is that terms get picked across the globe which have a very different meaning.
All right.
So for example, open banking somewhere else would be that banks have an open infrastructure, APIs available, and as a right, a fintech can partner with them. The bank don't have a choice. So that's the kind of a setup we have in Europe, for example. or there are licenses for open banking given out, which is like fully digital banks. You can go up and set up your own bank. Like again, you can do it in Europe, you can do it in Hong Kong, you can do it in Singapore, now US also, Australia. So those are separate category of licenses. Now in India, both is not true. Neither there is any license which allows me to operate like a neobank,
Okay.
the typical European neobank, nor there is any mandatory regulation where a bank has to partner with me and give me all the APIs. Both don't exist.
Okay.
So the only way to do open banking in India, or rather neo-banking in India, is that the customer will always belong to the partner bank. You have to make your peace with that.
Okay.
Because they have the banking license. The deposit of the customer is always bank's responsibility. So the customer goes and becomes a savings account customer or a current account or a credit card customer of the partner bank. As a neobank or as an open banking player or whatever it is, your job is to create a layer on top of it, which gives customer a better experience.
Okay.
So just imagine if you had a choice of a mobile banking app of a partner bank and a mobile banking app supported by the partner bank APIs of a new bank, and you could choose anyone. So if you think the bank's app is better, you can choose that. Or if you think the neobank's interface is better, you can choose that. As simple as that. Right. So neobanks are more like a program manager with a service who provide some beautiful tech on top of a savings account or a current account, and then of course you can also back it up with certain other tech integrations.
Right. Okay, so
but in no case, Shreya, is the customer our customer. It's always bank's customer.
What could accelerate the increased adoption of open banking in India? If you can sum it up.
I think this is probably the best time for people to look for more digital banking and more user-friendly, because more DIY banking. You do not want to take support of other people to do your banking. You want to do it all yourself. So that interface, etc. So this next 1 year, I think, is going to be an accelerated digital banking, neo-banking, open banking, everything together. But whether we'll have a European style open banking where it's like a mandatory thing or not, I really doubt it's going to happen very fast.
Right. Okay. And you being a traditional banker for 15 years and now a neo banker, what is the future of banking according to you? How do you see banking evolve in next maybe 10 years, 5 years, 5 to 10 years?
Banking has always been the backstone of any economy and will continue to be. And in terms of how it will evolve, I think it is going to get more tech friendly. It is going to get more DIY. You will have more, on the wealth side, more robo-advisory, that kind of stuff. On the stock side, suddenly you will see a lot of banks facilitating not only Indian stocks, but international stocks. So that's going to be another big change we're going to see. Almost everyone's portfolio will have something to do with international, to do a hedge against Indian economy or currency or whatever it is. And then of course we will increasingly see banking apps look very beautiful, just like some of the startup apps for, let's say, Swiggy or Zomato is like very, very good to use. So I think banks are going that way, and not only neobanks, but I think traditional banks are also trying to do that. So ICICI has come up with a new app which is very, very nice to look at. Similarly, in the world, across the world, also similar thing is happening. In US also, traditional banks have hit back at the neobanks with very nice UI UX of their own. So I think it's only good for the consumer. They will get more transparent banking, more good-looking banking, I would say, and better deals all over. So it's era of the consumer always.
Right. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you so much for joining us. And, those were some extremely interesting and wonderful insights that you've shared with us. Thank you for joining us and, being a part of ETBFSI's FinTech Diary.